told your friend you're not okay? And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to Mexico City, one of the Latin American economic powerhouses and cultural centers. Mexico City has a long history, but over the past few years it has undergone a major transformation, exploding into a city full of color. Mexico City has a long history, but over the past few years it has undergone a major transformation, exploding into a city full of color. Mexico City's color is reflected everywhere you look.
The way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace.
It can be seen in its sun-baked plazas, monuments, the dappled shade and calm of its courtyards, and in its murals and street art. The color of Mexico City is evident in the faded pastels and tilework of colonial buildings, in the cantinas, music, cuisine, and everything in between.
Today, I promise that I've never felt this way.
Despite its legendary sprawl, Mexico City isn't as hard to navigate as its names would suggest. If life had a color, it would be Mexican City. The city is divided into a number of distinct boroughs that each have their own shades and moods, just as paint does on a palette. It was at the heart of the Mexican civilization that the Aztec temples were swiftly destroyed when the Spanish arrived in 1521, and a colonial city was built in the place of the Aztec temples. The colors of Mexico City run deepest in the main square, the Zocalo. Currently, the Metropolitan Cathedral, which is the precedence of this area, is a temple of a different kind. Throughout the Centro Histórico district, we can see over 1,500 heritage buildings. You can visit San Ildefonso College and see some of the most important Mexican murals ever created. At La Ciudadela, an artisanal market where over 300 stalls are offered, you can see a kaleidoscope of color and craft. In addition, you will be able to admire the splendor of Casa de Azulejos, the House of Tiles, on the streets of this district. There are a number of incredible museums and galleries in this district, including the Palacio Postal Library Museum and the Palacio de Bellas Artes. I believe that the fabulous Museo France Mayer is one of the best places to experience the life and color of yesteryear. The museum displays a glittering display of cultural treasures and everyday items that a tireless collector collected throughout his life. If you need to change up your color, take a stroll down the leafy avenues of Alameda Central. Then check out Chapultepec Park, one of the largest urban parks in the world. As well as serving as the city's lungs, the park is also home to cultural institutions such as the Auditorio Nacional, the Museum of Anthropology, and the popular Chapultepec Zoo, all of which are located in the park. Here is one way for you to pay your respects to the Niños Heroes. This monument is a tribute to the 6 boy soldiers who sacrificed their lives to defend Castillo de Chapultepec in 1847 against the Americans. Currently, the castle serves as Mexico's National Museum of History, shedding light on its darkest as well as its brightest chapters. A former warehouse area, Nuevo Polanco, is rapidly being transformed by new architectural visions to the north of upscale Polanco. In a building that rises like shape-shifting plasma, the Museo Sumaya holds more than 60,000 artworks from billionaire Carlos Slim's private collection. Free Museum features masterpieces from across the ages, including works by Van Gogh, Dali, and Rodin. Just across the street, the spirit of philanthropy continues at Museo Jumex, a building reminiscent of the district's industrial past that houses the largest contemporary art collection in Latin America. It is said that Quiocan, the place of quiotes, is one of the 11 ancient villages south of the city. The Blue House, where Frida Kahlo was born, blossomed into a place of bohemia in the early 20th century. Its artists, writers, and intellectuals enrich not only Mexico, but the world as well. Visit Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo's homes, studios, and museums in neighboring San Angel. where these two giants of Mexican art lived, worked, and loved. Ciudad Universitarios murals and buildings are just south of the city and were constructed in the 1950s, the city's largest single construction project since its Aztec days. One of Rivera's last epic murals, a work he never lived to complete, can be found in the university's Olympic Stadium. In districts such as Roma and Condesa, the spirit of bohemia and creativity continues. In Mexico City, there is color everywhere, and once experienced, it will never fade. In Xochimilco, simply float away on a riot of color during your visit to one of the city's Aztec canals, exploring markets and gardens along the way.
Told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until